Roberta, it looks like we're just waiting for Chris as we know that Mary's not going to be here.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you.
Huh.
Dan, this is Roberta. It looks like we have everyone now.
Great. Being after 1:30, I'll go ahead and call the meeting of the Board of Public Utilities for the City of Santa Rosa to order. Secretary Atha, if we could have a roll call, please.
Yes. Chairman Galvin.
Here.
Vice Chair Arnone.
Here.
Board Member Badenfort.
Here.
Board Member Grable.
Here.
Board Member Mullen.
Here.
Board Member Watts. And Board Member Wright.
Here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Reminder, please, to mute your phones or microphones when you're not speaking, and also to put away all cell phones and personal computers. Item 2 is a statement of abstention by board members. Do we have any? Seeing none. Item 3, we have no study session. The minutes from September 3rd will be approved and entered. And we will move to 5.1, the staff briefing. Director Burke.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and members of the board. We will have a staff briefing today on water supply and recycled water. Before I introduce both speakers, I did want to let the board know that I'm pleased to inform you that Emma Walton, who's currently or was our Deputy Director of Engineering Resources, has been transferred to be our new Deputy Director of Regional Operations. So she is taking over the role that Joe Schwal just recently retired from. We're really excited to have her out at the treatment plant. She brings a wealth of knowledge and experience, and I think she'll provide great leadership and oversight of the Laguna treatment plant and the regional system. So with that, you have a water supply and recycled water update, and Deputy Director of Water Resources, Peter Martin, and Deputy Director of Water Reuse Operations, Emma Walton, will be doing the presentation.
Thank you, Director Burke. Good afternoon, Chair Galvin, members of the board. Just going to give you a quick update on the water supply outlook for the region and just kind of key into some of the options and things that we've been working on throughout the summer for our water conservation campaign. Slide 2, please. Oh, I guess I didn't realize the presentation actually wasn't up yet. Yeah, if you just advance to the next slide when you get a chance. So I just kind of wanted to throw up a quick storage curve for Lake Mendocino. As you mentioned before, Lake Mendocino is kind of driving some of the decisions under the temporary emergency change petition order that was issued by the state in July. The solid kind of black line shows the water supply levels in Lake Mendocino as of September 10th. That dotted black line is sort of the target storage that drives a lot of the decisions for flows on the river under the temporary emergency change petition. If they drop below that black dotted line, then there's quite a few decisions that need to be made for a more drastic cutback in flow regimes and also more actions by Sonoma Water and their contractors. As you can see, we're still kind of residing above the 5-year low as far as storage. That's the green dotted line, or the green line, and that's 2015. So the water supply outlook still is pretty good if you make a comparison. Slide 3, please. So just kind of a reminder of some of the things that are in that temporary emergency change order for Sonoma Water. They obviously have a lot of flow management objectives, and those are kind of tied in with Lake Mendocino's operations. There's just a series of water quality objectives that they need to meet. So there's a lot of water quality monitoring and fish monitoring that's going on as a result of this order that's been issued by the state. And
I think there's an issue with the microphone. The microphone keeps going away from your mouth and backboard, and it's hard to hear you. I'm sorry.
I'm going to try to do it without the headphones. Is that a little better? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So just kind of a reminder, I'll just start over in the slide real quick so we catch everything. Reminder that the temporary change order in July requires quite a few things of Sonoma Water throughout the remainder of the year. They have quite a few flow management objectives, and those are sort of tied to Lake Mendocino's operations and storage. There's quite a few water quality objectives that are protective of recreation, and also, some of the lower river objectives, quite a bit of fish monitoring and ongoing weekly reporting. Those weekly reports are available on Sonoma Water's website if you're so inclined. And then just kind of wanted to highlight that the Sonoma Marin Saving Water Partnership has water conservation activities that they are reporting on a monthly basis, and that is also required as part of this order. Next slide, please. So just wanted to highlight that Lake Sonoma still has ample supplies of water to support the contractors throughout the remainder of the year at this point. Lake Sonoma storage is still kind of trending slightly above that 5-year low in 2015. And it was kind of denoted by that.
Peter, you cut out again.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Better, yes.
Okay, thank you. Can I go to the final slide? So I just wanted to highlight some of the activities that we're doing here at Santa Rosa Water. We had 2 virtual workshops that were held on September 8th and 15th. There was 150 registrants, or actually more in some cases, and quite a bit of participation in those. We'll continue to start to use those workshops as a tool to get word out to the customers. There's a new video for a DIY water smart checkup that's now being utilized. It's about an 8 or 9 minute YouTube video where folks can sort of use the toolkit that they get for doing an indoor checkup. And then there'll be a follow-up with staff as a result of them doing that indoor work. So we can't obviously go into folks' homes right now and do their water smart checkups. So this is the alternative. And then just staff are continuing to follow up on some of our continuous use customer data. So, we have automatic metering infrastructure that also relays kind of timely data on customer use. So if we see kind of what's considered a continuous use, noting a leak in a home, we can make a follow-up with the customer and let them know about that. And sort of that's been a good tool throughout the summer as well. So with that, concludes my presentation, and I take questions at the end of Emma's presentation as well.
Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon, Chairman Galvin, members of the board, and thank you, Director Burke, for that warm welcome. I think we all are very well aware that I have big shoes to fill with the departure of Deputy Director Schwal. Next slide, please. So pretty brief overview of our deliveries to date. We've delivered about 4.2 billion gallons of water to be reused this year. 2.7 billion gallons have gone to the geysers for use. About 1.5 billion have gone to irrigation. Of that 1.5 billion, about 1.1 have gone to our ag users. 300 million gallons to our urban users and a small amount to our city farms. We also continue to maintain a small amount in storage. Next slide, please. So here's our storage curve. As I mentioned, we have a little less than 200 million gallons in storage. We do have about 100 million gallons remaining in allocations to our ag users, which we are very confident will be able to meet all allocations that we've determined are appropriate for this year. Next slide, please. Just a brief overview of some current activities that we have going on. We are finishing up a very large repair of our, or not repair, but reinforcement of our Delta Pond levee. We anticipate that to be done by late October. That's about a mile-long reinforcement of the levee out there, which we anticipated would take multiple years to complete, but the contractor has made good headway and anticipates being completed in one construction season. Really, even despite the facts that we had some delays due to the fires and delays in and trouble in getting material for that project. We also have a repair that needs to be done on one of our pumps here at our Meadow Lane ponds, our D pond. We anticipate having that repair done by late October as well to prepare for the rainy season. Just a reminder, we also have our geysers maintenance shutdown coming on September 28th. That shutdown will last for about 3 weeks. So during that time, we'll start storing water and get ready for the rainy seasons to come as well. Next slide, please. So with that brief update, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you to both deputy directors, and again, congratulations on your new appointment, Emma. That's great. Any questions from the board for either of our deputy directors?
More of a question, more of a comment than a question, and that is I noticed we added a slide on deliveries to date for the recycled water. I really like that slide. It really puts into context the amounts going to different users, and very helpful for me to get a visual handle on how our recycled waters are distributed. So thank you for adding that slide.
Thank you.
I agree. Any other board member questions or comments? Board member Mullen?
Thank you. I agree with Vice Chair Arnone's comment about the breakout. It does provide a real picture as to the split and the various users that we are delivering our recycled water to. And it's interesting to see the difference between fodder crops versus grapes, which is I always viewed those as two different types of industries. One is providing what many of us have said before about the food on our table, and the other one is providing the wine that we drink. So I consider those to be a different type of class, and it's nice to see a breakout. My second question or comment is, are we going to get an update in the coming months relative to the outreach that we've been doing in response to the letter from the Farm Bureau?
We have continued to have conversations with the Farm Bureau. We actually had a meeting with them earlier this week. The conversations seem to be going well and the communication is going well. We've committed to continuing to have frequent and early communication with our ag users. If moving into the wet season, moving into the new contracts that are now in place, and then moving into next irrigation season, we'll definitely stay in close, early, often communication with them. Director Burke, I don't know if you'd like to add if there's something specific that we would be brought back to the board, but we are continuing to make sure that those conversations are had.
Yeah, a great question, Board Member Mullen, and thank you, Deputy Director Walton. As Deputy Director Walton mentioned, we're continuing to have those conversations. We also have added additional email communications as well as updates on our website. So we've provided various opportunities to keep communications going between ourselves and the ag customers. We're happy to bring, an update at a future meeting that kind of provides all of that information. If that would be helpful for the board, we're happy to do that.
So does the executive director of the Farm Bureau attend these sessions or participate in these?
Yes, she has all along.
Good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other board member questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll now open it up for public comments on item 5.1. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you are dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha, do we have anyone?
I see no hands raised at this time.
Great, thank you. That will conclude the staff briefing. Thanks you to both of the deputy directors. We have 2 items on the consent calendar, item 6.1 and 6.2.
I'll move adoption of the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Arnone, seconded by Board Member Badenford. Any further comments? We'll now open it up for public comments on items 6.1 and 6.2. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Do we have anyone? Secretary Atha?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Very good. May you please do a roll call?
Yes. Chairman Galvin?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnone?
Aye.
Board Member Badenford?
Aye.
Board Member Grable?
Aye.
Board Member Mullen?
Aye.
Board Member Wright?
Aye. Thank you, everyone. That passed. The consent calendar is done. We'll now move to item 7.1. Director Burke.
Thank you, Chair Galvin, members of the board. Item 7.1 is a report item with a recommendation to the City Council to approve a fee deferral agreement regarding water demand fees between El Cristal Mobile Home Park and the City of Santa Rosa. And Supervising Engineer Andy Allen will be making the presentation.
Chairman Galvin and members of the board, as Deputy Director Director Burke indicated, my name is Andrew Allen, Supervising Engineer with our Asset Management Group here at the Santa Rosa Water, and I'll be presenting this item. Next slide, please. I'll be providing you with a background on a larger consolidation projects that we are currently working on, and it will also a location map showing all 9 of our proposed connections associated with that consolidated project. Then I will get into specifics on El Cristal Mobile Home Park and the request for assistance from the state to make a temporary emergency connection. I will provide our analysis and our recommendation. Next slide, please. As described in the staff report and per Senate Bill 88, the State Water Board can require a water system with poor water quality to consolidate with another public water system. The state is requiring Santa Rosa Water to consolidate with 7 mobile home parks and 2 duplex rental complexes that currently have private community water systems that fail to meet safe drinking water standards. Per assistance request number 5705, the state is assisting the city and the property owners in the consolidation process. That assistance includes coordination of planning activities, the state hiring an engineering consultant to conduct the design and prepare improvement plans to connect these mobile home parks and rental units to city water. The cost of the water main extensions where needed, physical connections to our system, demand fees, and upgrading of the fire protection will all be grant funded, similar to Connect 4 project that we did a few years ago that indeed connected 4 complexes to city water. And this consolidation will be paid out of Prop 1 funds. The previous project was paid out of Prop 84 funds. Next slide, please. This is the location map showing all 9 of the water systems that will be consolidated, including one up on Sebastopol Road. And most are down here on Santa Rosa Avenue, including El Cristal Mobile Home Park. You can see there's we're picking up quite a few of the existing mobile home parks on Santa Rosa Avenue. And the Connect 4 project also included 2 mobile home parks on Santa Rosa Avenue in that general vicinity. Next slide, please. El Cristal Mobile Home Park was, as indicated, one of the sites within the consolidation project. And while in the process of going through our design for the consolidation project, E. coli contamination was discovered in El Cristal Mobile Home Park wells. The E. coli is making that water undrinkable, and the residents are currently provided with bottled water. El Cristal is outside the current city limits, but within our urban growth boundary, and thus a utility certificate is required prior to any connection. They had previously applied for this as part of the consolidation project, and we were able to, the planning department was able to grant that utility certificate in July of this year. Next slide, please. The state approached Santa Rosa Water to provide assistance in making this temporary emergency connection to allow El Cristal to tie into city water prior to the consolidation project going to construction. In an effort to provide the residents of El Cristal Mobile Home Park water in a timely fashion, Santa Rosa Water has agreed to provide this temporary emergency connection. El Cristal will be engaging a contractor to make the physical connection, and that cost will be reimbursed by the state emergency funds, which is a different bucket of money than the Prop 1 funds. However, those emergency funds are limited, and by adding our demand fees to those costs would make it so the cost of the temporary emergency connection would be above the threshold as compared to providing bottled water as the interim solution. While Santa Rosa Water supports deferring the demand fees, only City Council has the authority to authorize the deferral of those fees. Thus, we are coming to you for your recommendation. The agreement will defer payment of the water demand fees of close to $150,000 for up to 5 years. As this agreement will be recorded against the property, and it's similar to Resilient City. I'm sorry, I needed to move the slide forward there. I even forget that when I'm at the podium, sorry. As I indicated, the agreement will defer payments of these water demand fees for up to 5 years. That agreement will be recorded against the property. And it is similar to the Resilient City Ordinance fee deferral agreements that are going on. And there are several that include water and sewer demand fees. The Assistant Request Project 5705, a mandatory consolidation project, will provide the state grant funds for the cost of that water demand fees as part of the project. In fact, that's one of the first things we submit for reimbursement. And on the off chance, the low chance that happens, that the state does not provide the grant funds, the owner will be required to pay those demand fees or disconnect from city water. So it is the recommendation of the Water Department that the board, by resolution, recommend that the City Council approve a fee deferral and agreement to pay water demand fees agreement with El Cristal Mobile Home Park, LLC. And I'm available for any discussion or questions.
Thank you, Supervising Engineer Allen. I'll open it up now to any board member questions or comments. As we get the screen back, board member questions or comments? Anyone? Board Member Mullen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I want to say that I'm prepared to support this action, but I do it with kind of mixed feelings, and beginning with how did we get here? How did we get to the point where we have a mobile home park that is being given bottled water because their private well has deteriorated over the years to the point where it no longer meets the safe drinking water standards? And I look to the property, the mobile home park owners as the responsible party for this situation, because this is an old story. It's happened, continues to happen, not just in our county, but all over the state, where mobile homeowners have antiquated private utility services, water and sewer principally, and they fail to maintain them to the standards that are required. And the people that suffer in situations like this are the residents, which are primarily senior citizens. Mobile home parks continue to be one of the last bastions of affordable housing for seniors, because they're largely existing on Social Security, and this is the only type of housing that they can afford. So they really don't have any options in a situation like this. And then we get forced into a situation where we have to come in as the savior, which is rightly so. We're a big utility, and our business is to provide water and sewer service. I get that. But what's led up to this, in my opinion, is the neglect of the owners to maintain infrastructure. Small diameter mains, unmetered connections. I would suspect that they haven't invested anything in leak detection and water efficiency studies to see if there is opportunities to save on their water consumption and thus the demands on these wells. And again, in this case, it's an out-of-town owner based in San Juan Capistrano who's operating this as a for-profit operation. And here we are being asked to come in and be the savior. So I'm not arguing the fact that we're the appropriate agency to act in this. And I understand the action that the council has taken to provide in need situations such as these. But what I'm speaking to today is the cause. And the owner of this basically steps aside, and we come in as Superman to save the day. So we're structured and set up to do that. But the owner, I wish we could take stronger action against the owner, because we're talking about infrastructure neglect over decades on these wells. When our wells have failed to meet water quality standards, we go in and fix them, or we drill new wells. I haven't seen any action by this owner or any documentation that they've done any of that. We have, and the poor residents are the ones that suffer. I can only imagine if it was one of my parents living there and they're living off of bottled water for their basic health and safety needs. So it's really sad that it's come to this, but it's not a new story. And again, I just wish we could take more action against the property owner for the neglect that I believe has taken place here. But that's above my pay grade. Lastly is, I would hope that the agreements, I've read the agreements, and I realize they have to pass muster with a lot of different agencies, but in the recommendation we're making to the council, I would hope that we include some provision that encourages the property owner to work with our staff when this connection is made to take advantage of our water efficiency programs and efforts to reach out to them, because again, it's an unmetered connection. It's one master meter, and who knows what's going on in each of the individual trailers, whether it's water leaks in toilets or irrigation leaks or other things, that we would encourage them to allow us to help them with our programs and maybe identify some areas that they could make minor improvements or so forth with the residents there. And what it would lead to is once they hook up, they have to start paying a utility bill. So if we can use our programming to help reduce the amount that they pay every month for the water we're going to provide to them, I think that's a win-win for both of us. So I would hope that we could put some conditions or requirements that the owner will proceed with those and work with us once this connection is made. I think that's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Board Member Mullen. I think those were all well taken. Any other responses or comments from staff or any other board member comments?
Pardon me. I just, in response, I just want to state, and I don't know if we can, I don't know what our options are for requiring, but I do want to commit, we will absolutely offer and work with the owner to provide water use efficiency services. We'll provide them with fixtures and other things. So anything we can do to help those customers, we are more than happy and committed to offering that to them, making that available and making those resources available. So I just wanted to let the board know that we absolutely will do that.
Thank you. And I believe also, I know Mr. Allen mentioned that there was a very slight chance that the state might not reimburse. And it's my understanding that before we have any construction going on the main project, that there will be an agreement in place with the state for reimbursement. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Good. Okay. Any other board member questions or comments?
Chair Galvin,
right.
if I may
Yes.
also address one of the issues that was raised by Board Member Mullen, because I think it is true what he said about mobile home parks having these sort of pervasive issues with substandard infrastructure. And I want to make sure that the board understands that not only is this mobile home park not within the city's jurisdictional boundaries, so that's why we had to get an outside service utility certificate, but also all mobile home park infrastructure is actually under the jurisdiction of the state, and the city has no real ability to go in and to monitor, to inspect, and to require upgrades. So it is a frustration that I know that we've experienced before in the city, wanting to see mobile home park infrastructure improvements, over the years. And I know we've had to face the reality that even in the event of a subdivision of the park into ownership parcels, the city doesn't have authority to go in and to require updates of the infrastructure. So it is difficult for the city in that respect, but I don't disagree with the fact that that's an issue. I think it's just one that is under the state's jurisdiction.
Thank you. And at least we can make our programs available to the residents and the owner, and encourage them to do some of the things that our customers are doing on their own, to do water conservation and leak detection, things like that. So great. Any other board member questions, comments, or staff comments? All right. We'll now take public comments on item 7.1. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you are dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha, do we have anyone?
There are no hands raised for this item.
Very good. So we have a resolution.
I'll move that we recommend that the City Council approve a fee deferral and agreement to pay water demand fees with El Crystal Mobile Home Park.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Wright, seconded by Board Member Grable, to approve item 7.1 in the resolution. Secretary Atha, will you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Chairman Galvin,
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnone,
Aye.
Board Member Badenford,
Aye.
Board Member Grable,
Aye.
Board Member Mullen,
Aye.
and Board Member Wright.
Aye.
Great. Thank you, everyone. And thank you in particular, Board Member Mullen, for your comments. Item number 8 is public comments on non-agenda matters. We're now taking public comments. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha, do we have anyone?
There are no hands raised.
All right, that will take care of public comments. Item number 9, we have no referrals. We have no written communication on item 10. Item 11, subcommittee reports. I don't believe we've had any since our last meeting. We will have a contract review subcommittee meeting next week, as you heard. Item 12, board member reports. Anyone?
I'll report.
Vice Chair Arnone.
I'll be happy to report that yesterday I attended what used to be called the Mayor's Boards and Commission Luncheon, but which is now referred to as the Mayor's Boards and Commission Zoom meeting. And I was privileged to attend in place of Chair Galvin, who had a conflicting engagement, and there was general discussion about issues that were uppermost in the council's mind and the minds of the other boards and commissioners, and I shared what we were working on here at the BPU, and it was a good meeting, and lots of good information was exchanged. So I appreciate the opportunity to attend, and happy to answer any questions if you haven't.
Thank you for pinch hitting. All right, we're now taking comments on item number 12, which is the board member report. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9. Secretary Atha, anyone?
I see no hands.
Thank you. We'll move to item number 13, the director's report.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and members of the board. I just have two quick items to update the board on. First, I wanted to let the board know that staff received direction to submit the petition for review of our MPDES permit for wastewater to the State Water Board. Staff and outside counsel, as well as outside consultants, are working feverishly on this document. It's a very well drafted document, and it is due to the state by tomorrow. So we will be submitting that before it is due. So just wanted to let the board know that that is moving forward. And then also, I know the board received the sad news that we will be losing our assistant city attorney before too long. She has one more board meeting. So in the meantime, I wanted to let the board know that I have been working with the city attorney's office on putting together information and determining a replacement. There will be a recruitment that will be going forward before too long. But in the meantime, we are looking to procure outside counsel to assist and provide us with assistance during the time that the recruitment will be going on. So we will be working with the board contract subcommittee and then bring something to the board hopefully at your next meeting regarding this. And that is my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any board member questions or comments? Seeing none, we're now taking public comments on item 13. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha?
There are no hands raised for the director's report.
Okay. All right. Well, that I think concludes our meeting. Again, we're sorry to see Assistant City Attorney McLean leave us, but we'll get one more shot at you. And then we'll wish you good luck in your new career and new position. So if there's nothing else, we are adjourned. See you in a couple weeks. Thank you.